Okay, guys, I'm back from work, and when I left off, I was talking about my grandmother and my great grandmother on my dad's side and some stories. So I figured I'd finish it off. And the thing, I got like lots of you know, being mixed. I have a lot of experiences being mixed. The thing is, it's easy to probably offend someone who's not mixed than it is to offend someone who's actually mixed. So my surrogate father and I, we went to freaking Orlando to go to like Disney World, Universal Studios. We went to all of them. So we went to Taste of China, and at Taste of China is where I made this white dude turn as red as that suit right there. So here's how this happened. Me and Rick is my surrogate father, my stepdad, if you would. He's not my stepdad, being that he was married to my mom. My stepdad's actually still alive. That's currently he's over there somewhere. But he's my second dad. He's been taking care of me for a long time. And we sadly lost him in 2011. But long before that, somewhere in the 90s, we went to Taste of China, and we hadn't gotten to either we hadn't gone to Disney World or we got back. No, we went to Disney World. We hadn't gone to Universal Studios yet. But we went to Disney World. And so, I think we might have went to Nick too. I'm not going to swear to it. I think we went to all of them. I'm not going to swear to it. But anyway, so we went to Taste of China. We went to Disney World the day before. So we went to Taste of China. And the only reason we went there is because I do Kung Fu. And Rick happened to just be driving by. And he's like, hey, let's go here. I'm like, dude, I've never heard of this place before. It's like Chinatown, but not, So we went to Taste of China, where I got to see Little Fong. I have her brochure somewhere. I kept it. I don't know where it is, but I do have it. Little Fong's probably a mama now, because I'm 40 something and I was 20 something when that happened. And Little Fong was maybe 4. So yeah, Little Fong's probably a mama now. She's probably not doing any more acrobatic shit like when she was a little girl and people would like bounce her off her feet and stuff and fling her through the air, and she was very flexible, like one of those I don't know the word I'm looking for right now, but it'll hit me. Contortionist. She was a little contortionist, and she was a badass. So we got to see them practice. We didn't stay for the show, but we got to see them practice. I don't even know if Little Taste of China still exists in Florida, but it wasn't too far from Universal Studios or Nick Studios or Disney. It was all in that same conglomerate area. So Rick and this dude, they're talking. I mean, they're talking their asses off. And a lot of the people in Taste of China didn't speak English. So they're talking about the Chinese people. See, this is the thing about me. I apparently blend right in. And they were talking. And they were talking about Chinese people. And I'm just sitting there. And I mean, this dude is just talking up a storm about his bosses. And I mean, he wasn't saying anything bad about them per se. He was just saying that the Chinese work ethic was great, and he never gets a minute off unless it's like an important thing. But then they don't work him like a slave driver, so it's kind of the best of both worlds. He doesn't have time off. Well, he gets like after he clocks out, he's off. He doesn't have to come back unless it's an emergency. But most of the time, like anything maintenance or whatever, he's there. Literally, his 8 to 12 hour shift, he's there. He maybe get a couple of breaks on lunch, but they're not really, really long breaks. They're like maybe less than standard. I don't really remember everything that he said, but he got to talking. I mean, he was going at it. He's like, I watch these Asian dudes do all this stuff. His exact words were, I watch these Chinese fellas do all this stuff with all these weapons, and I'm very fascinated. And if I was in my 20s, I would be into that shit. And the whole time I'm watching these Asian dudes, the same Asian dudes he's talking about, they're spinning tridents and shit around. And I'm like, why do they have tridents? I'm trying to think what martial art has a fucking trident. Because, I'm a very quick study, and I've studied lots of martial arts, but nothing I've ever taken has had a fucking trident. And for those who don't know what a trident is, think Aquaman. Alright? So they had a trident. So I'm going to actually Google that later to find out what martial art uses a trident. But anyway, they were busting ass with this trident. They were doing the pike form, the majestic spear form, and the Quan Do form. But they were doing it with the trident. So that was the thing. And I mean, this dude was just steadily blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, okay, cool. Now I'm listening to him, and I'm watching them, and I look at him like maybe 3 times. About an hour into the conversation, he stops talking, and he's looking at me. And he's like, dude, do you speak Chinese? And it's like, dude, I'm not Chinese. It's like, what? It's like, yeah. Only reason I stopped talking is because I just took a good look at you. And I said, yeah, what does that have to do with anything? And he's like, you look like you could be one of those half Chinese cats, like Tiger Woods or something. I said, well, I hate to burst your bubble, but I'm not half Chinese. I'm actually Native American, black, and white. And that being said, he obviously didn't know that Native Americans were biologically Asian either. So he's like, oh, okay. And went right back to talking about Chinese people. So I've been in these situations where people will be talking, and then they would take a look at me, and they'll be like, oh my God. They'll realize all of a sudden, it's like, oh, dude, we might be talking about this dude people. And then I have to politely imply that I'm not one of their people. It's like, hey, look, man, I don't care who you talk about. It's not my business. If you want to talk about Chinese people, you want to talk about Japanese people, if you want to talk about Asian people in general, knock yourself the fuck out. No, you don't know me. I don't know you. I'm not here to cause you any problems. I'm here because he brought me here. So therefore, he's my ride home. So I'm not going too far away from my ride home. If the bathroom's like on the other side of this establishment, guess what? I will hold it until it's time to go home. When we get home, unless I'm wearing the dark pants, when we get home, I'll go use the bathroom. So we were in Florida for about a week. And so there's a lot to do in Florida. A week is not enough time. If you're going to go to Florida, you want to schedule at least 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks, a month to get everything done, especially if you're going to Orlando. I've never been to Miami. I've only been to Orlando. Same thing with Toronto. A week is not enough time in Toronto, especially if you're going on business. If you're going for fun, a week's still not enough time. But for business, when we went to Toronto, it was like wheelchair basketball, so I just did all the filming and shit and the editing. And we hadn't been back there since like 2008. So I guess the wheelchair team stopped. And now with COVID, nobody's really going anywhere. Sorry, checking text messages. Yeah. Okay. Hold on. Sorry. Anyway, so we had a pretty decent time, back in Florida, and I think by the time we were done talking with the guy, he's like, look, man, I don't know if you've been told this a lot, but you could probably pass for one of them, and they are hiring. And I said, yeah, I have been told that, but my skin tone is brown, so that's not gonna work. You see how light all those guys are, because they were like a lot lighter than me, and my eyes aren't very slanted, as you can see. And he's like, nah, literally, man, I think you probably can blend right in. I'm like, no, literally, man, I can't. But if we're doing kung fu and they dress me up and maybe slap some makeup on me, then I probably could. But, we got to talk, and it was a good time, The guy's son had worked for Disney. And, the guy's son worked for Disney and laid down the rules or whatever and everything. I was like, yeah, I would love to work for Disney even more now since they got like Marvel in their employment. But we did a lot of this stuff, and the whole point of me making these videos is so that people can understand. Mixed people do exist. We do exist. How you deal with us is where my issues come in. Alright? And they're not always bad issues. There's not always a bad person that has struck me funky with me being mixed. There have been some small issues and then there have been some large issues. The large issue is why my ass hasn't been able to get acting work in 20 years of trying to get into this business with the studio here and other things, and there's just no roles written for me, which is why I wrote my own, which is why I haven't had the best success. In the one success story I did have, they got to fighting, and then the second success story I had, the shit got stolen. Please send my shit back to 512 Rougemont, Charlottesville, Virginia, 22902. Just in case, by the grace of God, this asshole that stole my shit from Bruce Johnson with a cattle prong has it and has a heart and can send me back my shit so that I can post it up on the internet. No, I don't want to press charges. I just want my shit. I don't give a flying fuck. You didn't assault me. You just took my shit. But the thing is, there's an easy way and there's a hard way to approach somebody when you have a question. First, always say excuse me, especially if they're doing something. If they're busy or something, like, excuse me, can I ask you a question? And also, on that, just in case, you might want to see what the mood is in the air. If you're getting a sense of like salt. I'm not saying you're tasting salt in the air or you're seeing salt or smelling salt, but if you're sensing that this guy's going to be a little salty, or you're seeing that he's having a bad day, generally by looking at people you can probably tell how their day is going. Not all the time, but generally by looking at people you can pretty much tell. Then you probably want to fade back a little bit. And if you mark the time or the schedule of that person, it's almost guaranteed that you will bump into that person somewhere down the road in the same building at the same time on the same day. Trust me, I've learned this. I didn't believe it until it actually started happening. It's like, alright, because I was really enamored with this very beautiful Asian girl that jogged the same path every other day at this time. So one day I just happened to be walking by and it was that time, and I was like, well, motherfucker, there she was. However, I didn't have the balls to say anything to her. She was very, very beautiful, and I was like, yeah, she's gonna tell me to get the fuck out of her face. And I believed that, so I didn't. And I've learned since then that sometimes you just gotta ask a question. However, you do wanna test the mood in the air, because you don't want to come at somebody on the wrong day or the wrong time and they're angry, because that could just totally screw up everything. But also on that, you have to understand that people have bad days. When people are having a bad day, they may make a very bad first impression. I sadly just make very bad first impressions, but it's more or less, I guess, it's like defense mechanisms that I have, because I've been through so much stuff being mixed with judgment. Especially when I had my incidents with the two Native Americans, the times, and it was you're not pure blood, blah blah blah. Tell you guys about this shit before, so we won't give you a long, dragged out story about it, but it has something to do with your basketball team. And it's alright, if you're Native American and you're mixed with white, it's you have a higher class of unpure blood. Where if you're Native American and you're mixed with black, and me being mixed with both, and them not being sure which one I am when they look at me, it's been some shit. And that's the thing, one, if I had it my way, I will be completely honest. I will be completely, totally honest, and I'm probably going to piss off everybody. If I had it my way, I wouldn't be mixed. But I would be completely Native American. I'd be totally 1,000% Cherokee male, or whatever other indigenous male that I would be considered as. But I would be 100% that versus being black and versus being white. But since I can't do that, I have to be who I am, which is multicultural. This has also come back to bite me in the ass, because a lot of people don't see me as black. A lot of people don't see me as anything other than probably Native American. They don't really classify me as mixed unless I tell them that I'm mixed, because there are some people who are just, this dude's mixed. Yeah, they can tell it right off the bat. And I had that mixed star too, where you can tell somebody's mixed with something. I can just look at them and say, yeah, this motherfucker's mixed. They hide it well. And some people do hide it well. My mom, my God, my mom looks white. Solid white. Premium Blend is her nickname. Like I said, when my dad died when I was 42, because I'm 47 now, I just turned 47. I had just turned 42 after he died. Or I was just turning 42, 43. Somewhere in there, he died in my car. So that was an issue. You know, that was an issue that has haunted me till this day because it was my car. You know, it still haunts me. It will probably haunt me until the end of time. But, you know, it is what it is. But the fact of the matter is that, you know, I was always in these situations where people weren't really sure what I am. And only very few people have come at me like sideways about the shit. And that was mostly in grade school. You know, middle school was a little bit easier because we were all about who's getting the nasty from girls versus who's not. And I was in the high level who's not, because I could be lucky if a girl gave me a second look. And yeah, I had a girlfriend, but she was cheating on me. And she was blazingly bold since she brought her new boyfriend who looked like me to my job, and my bosses wouldn't fire me, and they blocked all the doors so that I couldn't rip the guy a new asshole. And then to top that off, they fed those motherfuckers on my meal ticket. So, if you take your bad luck, try being me for a day. But yeah, they would not fire me, and I was like, if this motherfucker just fire me for 10 minutes, and that's 9 minutes more than I need to beat this dude's ass. I said, yeah, but then you're gonna wind up going to jail. I said, totally worth it. It's like, but maybe he doesn't know about you. I'm sure he knows about me, but if he doesn't, he's gonna remember who the fuck I am after I rearrange his face. So, I'm sorry. Once a fighter, always a fighter. There's just no really getting around that shit. But you know, it was I was one of those people. I was the do or die motherfucker. You know, if I said I'm gonna do something, you better believe your ass I'm gonna do it. It's just a matter of timing and preparation. You know, if you have the right preparation and you can get the right timing, then you're gonna be where you need to be. You know, my problem has been timing. I'm always prepared, you know, for the most part. I got a lot of preparation ready to go. It's just a matter of timing. Now the thing, you know, with a lot of stuff, as per freaking usual, you know, you have to be ready. And 9 times out of 10, most of us, we are not ready. We like to think that we are ready, but we are not ready. I guess it also would depend on that situation. Let's put it that way. That way it'll be fair. It really would depend on the situation. I'm not trying to look at my crush. I have a picture of me and her and another famous person that I'm having a picture with. I'm trying to actually find the car where my dad passed away in, so that I can show you guys why this actually haunts me. It shouldn't haunt me. I know it's not my fault. But I can't help but feel that it's my fault because it was my damn car. No. It's a different ball game when it's not you. No. It's a totally different ball game when it's not you versus when it is you. No. There's a big difference because when it's you, you know, you will feel it. You know, more often than you would care to admit to, you will feel it. You know, most people don't know how to be honest with themselves, let alone be honest with others. So that's an issue. You know, that's a big fracking issue. But you know, I mean, it really pays to know. Yeah, it really pays to know. But I mean, as far as being mixed, I will tell you, the only hard part about it is having people talk behind your back versus talk to your face. You know, and I'm that guy. I would much rather you just ask me to my face or say it to my face than you know, let me see what kind of jerk I'm gonna get when I talk to him. Not all of us mixed people are jerks. Trust me. Some of us are very nice people. Of course, it also depends on the day. You know, I mean, you can meet a good person on a bad day, and then it's all she wrote. You know, it literally is all she wrote. No. And then, you know, you can meet that same good person on a good day, and they'll be like, damn, you want the same person I talked to 2 weeks ago, because 2 weeks ago you were a straight dick. You know, and it does happen. You know, you meet the right person on the wrong day. You'd be surprised at how quickly their life can turn around. I mean, and really, a bad day is a bad day. No matter what, a bad day is a bad day. And if you're having a bad day, it's not helping when other people are rubbing it in your face. No, it's totally not helping when other people are rubbing it in your face. And if I didn't want to find this picture would be available. No, this picture would be ready and available. But because I want to find this picture of my dad's car, well, it's my car, but my dad died in it. But if I wanted to find this picture, you know, if I didn't want to find it, rather, it'd have been like right in my face, versus now where it's not. I cannot find that picture to save my life. I'll stop this video, and I'll find that damn picture, and I'll be pissed the frack off. No. Because that's how bad my luck is. No. All these pictures from Facebook that my phone also doesn't know how to get rid of, so I just keep them. No. They're very pretty girls. If you guys could see the reflections in my eyes, you would see that they are very, very pretty girls. I'm not going to show them here, you know, just to save face. No, but to be honest, you know, like I said, if I didn't want to show y'all that picture, man, that damn car would be right here, lickety split. But because I want to show you guys the picture, I can't find the damn picture, which is the story of my life. No. Happens. Alright, I'm done. I'm done looking for this motherfucker. If the picture ever shows up, I'll let you guys know. I'll make another video about it. But you know, I thought I had it in my favorites, and it's not there. My crush is there. My burnt face is there. Pikachu is there. A better picture of my crush and myself. Basketball. Richmond. The white car. And nothing else. Which really fucking sucks. Go to old stuff. My aunt's old house is there, but not the car. I literally cannot find this picture. And I am literally getting upset the more I look for it. So I'm gonna stop looking for it, because it's only making things worse. Because the more I want to find it, the more I can't find it. And the more I can't find it, the more I'm getting obsessed with looking for it. You know, so that's like not helping me like one bit. So I'm like, okay. And I mean, it sucks, because I really wanted to show you guys this picture of my car and how devastated it was, because my dad died in my car. I was on pain meds. So there we go. Sorry. That took longer than I needed it to take. Come on, damn it. Damn it. So my dad died in that car. That was my car. I worked really hard to get that car. And my dad, we don't know if it was a heart attack or what have you, but we do know that he died in the car. 2 blocks from home. So, that kind of sucked. Now, here's the thing. Alright, so that I don't go any further off track than I've been. My dad and my mom never prepared me for what being mixed is. So, my dad and my mom got divorced when I was 6. By then, I was in like the 1st grade. And, you know, you don't know what mixed is when you're a kid. And to other kids, ungodly and ungodly, just blow it right out. You're half-breed. These are the things that, you know, mixed kids have to face. No, it's not as bad as that just sounds. It really isn't. It's really not as bad as that just sounds. Sometimes it's worse. Sometimes it's not. It's more not than worse. It's worse when that person doesn't get to know you, doesn't want to know you, doesn't want anything to do with you due to their prejudice and their bias. And this is why when you approach people who are mixed, you should always say, "Excuse me, may I please ask you a question? I've never seen anybody with your genetic makeup before. Are you of multicultural ethnicity?" That was just way too damn polite. No one's ever going to do that. But it wouldn't hurt if you did. Instead of blurting it out, "Hey man, what you mixed with?" Got that a lot too. So, in closing, y'all have to understand, if you're not mixed, you don't really get it. I don't know why I said it in closing. I guess because I really wanted to see what Lester Holt was talking about, but screw it. I can Google it later. I'll talk until it's time for Inside Edition. Anyway, the thing is, when you're mixed, you understand racism a lot better than people who are not mixed. All right, so let me break into that, because I'm making this video specifically for a young lady that I was explaining this to in my sociology class. In this class, if you found me, this is the second part, by the way. So, no. The thing is that, alright, I've seen black racism against me, and I've seen black racism against white people. So I'm the one person who can't say that it doesn't exist, because I've seen that shit. I've been a victim of that shit. I've seen white racism against black people and Asian people, and I've seen white racism against me. I've recently seen Asian racism against black people only on my cell phone. I've never seen it in my life personally. I have heard people, my cousins on my dad's side included, that a lot of people in the Asian restaurants don't treat darker skinned people politely. And I have gone to the Asian restaurants in Smithfield and have never had a problem. Oh my God. Okay, maybe they're right. Let me break that down for you. So, my dad's other two sons, they're darker than me, because my dad was darker than my mom. No. And again, my dad's dad was black. My dad's mom was Native American. So that explains our high cheekbones and all that other crap that people keep pointing out. But anyway, so I've gone to Asian restaurants in Smithfield, and I've ordered like you get like a pint of rice, like a small pint, and I have been given like, I was like, yo, I only asked for a pint because I just wanted like the chick fried rice, but certain restaurants have the chick fried rice differently than the Chan House that used to exist here. In Smithfield, I went to the number one, I think. I went to one of them. I've actually eaten at all of them except for the Japanese restaurant. Whenever I go back to Smithfield, that will be priority one. But I went to the Chinese restaurants, and they're like right across like the freeways from each other. One is like way over on one little strip mall, and the other one's way on the other strip mall next to Farm Fresh. So we're specifically talking about the one next to Farm Fresh. I had asked for a pint. So let's see, what do I have in here? Oh, yeah. This is what I got, but I asked for the smaller one. And I still paid like the price of the pint. And I was getting chick fried rice to go. And so the chicken had the stuff in it, and it was over here. But they gave the rice separately because they said that people had been complaining about having it in the cot. And I was like, what? And he was like, yeah, we have it in the cot. And if the chicken and the rice is in the cot, people got to complaining, so now we put the chicken over here and we put the rice over here. And I was like, okay. So it's like maybe $11, maybe. I don't remember. I know it wasn't over $20. So I gave them $15. It's like, what's this? I was like, well, you gave me the wrong rice, so I'm giving you a tip. And it's like, no, we gave you the right rice. I said, no, because I asked for a small pint. And she said, this is a small pint. And I'm like, okay. I'm like not really in conflict with girls. I would kick myself in the testicles before I try to argue with a girl. It's just not my thing. It's nothing personal against girls. I grew up with 5 sisters, and I've learned that you really can't win an argument with a girl, especially if you're outnumbered. And there was 3 girls behind the counter, and all 3 of them was just as sexy as the one I was talking to. So it's like, okay. So she's like, well, you gotta take this extra 5 back, and I was like, you got a tip jar? Yep. There you go. Put it in the tip jar. And so whenever I went back, I decided this is how I'm going to play this. I'm not going to order any fucking rice. Because I like Chinese rice, but they basically, it was white rice. It was just like fucking Uncle Ben's. So I said, this is how I'm going to play this. If my aunt wants chick fried rice, I will get it for her. But for me, I like General Tso's chicken. I probably didn't say that right. But I also like chicken wings. So I just like, alright, this is what we're going to do. I'm just going to order chicken wings, and whatever my Aunt Ruth wants, I would order that. And I would go buy it and pick it up or whatever. And a lot of the stuff that I have here, I actually got from that restaurant. So I have this. You know. Don't worry, I'm going to bring it back around to what my family members might be right about. I haven't forgotten where I was. So, I have a frack ton of no mask and bells. Okay? Which is kind of funny because the Chinese don't have no mask. The Japanese do the no mask. So all of these that I used to have hanging all around my window, my rooms until I got the paint off. Yeah. So all of these came from that restaurant. And my good luck bells. I like to call them spirit bells because in certain Asian cultures, the bells ward off evil spirits, just like the no mask do for Japan, which is the only reason why I got the no mask. And I was like, okay, I know you guys are Chinese, but why do you have no mask? And they said that it wasn't just the Chinese or the Japanese that do the no mask, but some of their Chinese cultures do the no mask too, which kind of threw me for a loop because I always thought it was just Japanese that did the no mask. And the no mask, NOE, are basically like to ward off evil spirits or whatever. Anyway, so as I went into the other Chinese restaurant, the same thing kind of happened. Only their daughter, my God, their daughter was beautiful. But the daughter was only visiting for a week, and then she went back to London. So I don't know how that works out. Don't ask me. I don't ask questions. They had a very beautiful daughter. I don't think the daddy would have let me marry her, but the daddy was very nice to me. So, I'd order, and I'd come back. I hope they're all still in business, but, when it comes to the pandemic and stuff and how everybody's gotten racist towards Asians, it's been a thing. So, I go back, and my brothers and them would be like, how much you pay for that? It's like $11, $12. It's like, what? I paid $15. I was like, well, there was a mistake with my order because I asked for a small pint, and they wouldn't change it. So, my younger brother, I can't remember which one it was either Gerard or it was Billy Mack, but one of them said, well, hell, man, they probably thought you were one of them. And I said, was that supposed to be funny? It's like, yeah, they probably thought you were one of them. So it's like, that ain't it, man, that ain't it. But every time I went to this damn restaurant, I would get a small pint that would be like a medium or a large, and I was like, okay, maybe they really do think I'm one of them. But it just never really dawned on me, because it's like, nah, that's not it at all. I know, it's like, maybe they just made a mistake, or maybe the young girls who were feeding me just thought I was cute. You never know. I'm pretty sure that my brothers might have been closer to right. That was like somewhere between that and burning off my face. So, yeah, that I can actually show you. When I burned off my face, that was a really, really bad experience. That was on Mother's Day between 06 and 07. So I had burned off my face. And I had always thought that I was ugly until that happened. And after that, I have become very, very protective of my face. Yeah. I'm very protective of my face. You know, you don't know what you got until it's gone. So now when people call me ugly, I just say thank you and keep moving. You know, because you have no idea how it feels to burn off your fucking face. And on that note, the young Chinese lady in Smithfield was the only one who actually helped me. And I want to thank her for that while I'm here. Thank you. I don't know your name, but it was at the gas station before you go over the James River Bridge from wherever the hell I was at. But anyway, I burned off my face. There was a nurse there that didn't even bother to help me. She was black and she was on the payphone. Yes, that was still a thing. She was on the payphone on this side of me. I'm burning. I burnt up my arm and my shoulder and all of this. And I fell on the ground. And I got back up. And I went in. I got 2 things of water. One for my face, which I wasn't supposed to do. And one for the car to cool the car off so I can drive back to my aunt's. The same car that my dad died in, by the way. So, years later, my dad would die in the car. I went to the store, Farm Fresh. I got some aloe and some other stuff. And I kept it moving. You know, I didn't think I was really hurt that bad until my Aunt Ruth took me to the hospital. And she's like, you're going to the hospital or I'm going to call your mom. I was like, motherfucker, I don't know how to deal with that shit. Okay, so we went to the hospital. When I got to the hospital, I was the only person that was calm in the room. So the doctor's like, yeah, you must still be in shock. And I was like, nah, I'm feeling pretty good right now. It's like, yeah, your dumb ass is in shock. It's like, I've never been in shock before. If shock's like this is not that bad. Yeah, because everybody's like, well, you could die from shock. I was like, okay. Well, anyway, when I burnt off my face, and the guy, he's like, get this man on a fucking gurney right now. Why is he not on a gurney? How long have you been here? About 10 minutes. It's like, you've been 10 minutes and you're a first-degree burn patient. Get the fuck on the gurney right now. So he almost body slammed me on the gurney. And then I got on the gurney, and it's like, you've been out here for 10 minutes? Hey, there's a line, man. He's like, well, your face is like gone, man. And it's like, hey, if you must know, I don't feel a thing. I was so numbed by then, you know. And here's the funny part. You know, I wasn't gonna go to the hospital until Monday when I got back to Charlottesville. My aunt wasn't having that shit, and so, I love my Aunt Ruth, man. She's a badass. So, who else could talk a kung fu master into going to the hospital? Anyway, so when I get to the hospital, which happened like an hour after I got through all the getting the aloe, spraying it on my face, talking to the sexy white chick about what happened. When it actually happened, here's the long and short. There was a white couple in a black truck. There was like a Toyota 4Runner. They went from the front seat to the back seat and started fucking. Alright? There was a black nurse right beside me, like literally, like right where this thing is. She was in like striking distance from where I was at. When I pulled the car in, the couple was in the front because I was watching them as I pulled in because I parked like one car away from them because there was a spot between us. And the black lady was at the phone booth, who was in a nurse's uniform, by the way. Bad nursing skills for you. So there was like 15 people getting gas because it was like a dual thing, you know, like 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, 2 here, 2 here. And there's at least 15 people getting gas. I didn't need gas. I had a full tank. And I was going to Newport News to buy my mom a gift for Mother's Day. That shit didn't happen. She had to wait the next day to get her gift. I had to go to Newport News on Sunday. I didn't get to Newport News that day. I can guarantee you that. So, I went to Suffolk Hospital, though. So, what happened? My car was smoking. I pulled in. And I'm thinking, alright, I know 2 things about cars. I know how to change tires, and I can change the oil if we jack the car up high enough, or if we take it to Jiffy Lube, I can just pay them and let them change the motherfucking oil. But anyway, I know how to change the oil. There's a little plug under the oil pig, you know, you pop that out, change the oil filter, you put that back on, and then you put the cap back on, and then you put new oil in the goddamn car. My car takes 4. Anyway, so, when the car was smoking, it was smoking on the left. And I'm like, alright, my battery's on the right, my air filter's on the right, my radiator's in the front. Why the fuck am I smoking? So I pulled over and I popped it up, and the smoke was coming from the overflow pan. I didn't know you couldn't take the top off that. I knew you couldn't take the top off the radiator because it's written in fucking English. Do not remove while hot. The overflow plan was written in Spanish and Japanese, not English. And if those were warnings, fuck you, Honda. Because that didn't, there was no do not remove. So I twist the cap and that bitch exploded. Boom! Knocked me back. And I fell. So it hit me in the face and my arm. My arm shielded my eye. So all of this got burnt. But all of this stops right like there. And all of that right there where the hair is finally growing through. All of that and this was fucking burnt. And after I calmed down, and you know, I'm going to tell you, the white couple kept on stroking. The black lady kept on talking. Nobody stopped. It's like their world never stopped. I also burnt my ear a little bit. So, no one stopped to check on me. Nobody. I guess they just thought I was another wetback Mexican that they just didn't give a fuck about. So, no offense to anybody Mexican that I just offended. So I got my shit together. Whatever money I had in my pocket, it was for my mom's Mother's Day gift. Went slam to getting this shit. I think I had like $100. I don't know what the fuck I was gonna get my mom for $100, but I had like $100 in my pocket. And so I swiftly got 2 milk jugs full of water, because I don't know the actual I don't know the fucking actual gallons, but I got them. I got 2 of them. I immediately went to the bathroom after paying for it and got some put on my face. And then I took what was left out of the store to the car and poured it all over the car. Well, the engine. I poured it all over the engine. Both of them. The rest of the last didn't go on my face, and then the other one. I took a swig. I put it on the engine. Went back in, bought some first aid stuff, but they didn't have aloe. And it didn't have Neosporin. They had Advil, so I bought that. And I took 2. And I bought a Gatorade or something. So I knew I bought something else to drink besides those 2 jugs of water. Because the water wasn't really meant for me to drink, but I needed a swig. So I took a swig to calm myself down a little bit. Then I jumped in the car and drove the Farm Fresh. And then I bought my aloe and a fuck ton of Band-Aids. And so I got to my aunt's house. And my aunt said, "You got back from Newport News? What the fuck happened to your face?" And I said, "My car exploded." She's like, "What?" I said, "Yeah, my car exploded." So she's like, "Is it okay now?" I was like, "Oh, it's driving fine. It's not even smoking anymore." Because I cooled it off and everything was great. So antifreeze and hot water is what burnt off my face. And so my aunt maybe took 2 minutes. And she said, "Oh, hells no. You got to go to the hospital." I said, "I'm fine." "No, you got to go to the hospital." "No, I'm fine." And this went on for about that 2 minutes. And then she said, "Here's how this is going to work. Your mom's 3 hours away in Charlottesville. And I'm going to call her. And she's going to come and drag you to the hospital. Or you're going to go with me." And she's like, "Or I can call your dad." I said, "Well, if you call my dad, it ain't going to be that big of a deal. Because I was supposed to actually stay at his house that weekend. But I decided to just say, fuck my dad and come spend the weekend with my aunt. And that's what I did. I probably should have went to my dad's house." In all things, I probably should have went to my dad's house. But I went to my aunt's house. And that shit happened. And that same day, actually, I got to argue with my mom on the phone. And I was a victim of instant karma when that shit happened. So what really went down was, I'm sorry, Inside Edition is kind of important to me. I'm just going to turn it down a little bit. Anyway, what happened after was my aunt made a phone call and said, "All right, don't, I'm going to go." And she's like, "You right, you're going to go. You're going to get in my car and I'm going to take you." Yes, I can drive myself. "No, you're not driving anything else, especially a stick shift today." So my Aunt Ruth got me in the car. We drove to Surrey, Suffolk. We went to Suffolk. Sorry, I don't know why I said Surrey. Surrey is before you get to Smithfield. Suffolk's after you get to Smithfield. So we went to Suffolk General, where the doctor proceeded to put me on the gurney and begin to peel off the skin of my face. And that's pretty much how that worked. But, you know, you can't really even see the scarring, except for here and there. And I know I got off topic a little bit, but the point being is that, you know, I've been through a lot of stuff. Yeah, this thing's 44 minutes long, so I think I'll make a part 3. But before I end it, the thing is that being mixed has probably more disadvantages than advantages when it comes to racism. And I'm going to continue from there on part 3.